Welcome to the Week 7 Knoxville Ultimate Summer League show. I'm Jacob Thress here with Mitch and a special guest. We'll introduce him in a second just to keep you in suspense. Last week, Wednesday didn't have games.
They didn't. We got rained out.
So
We got citied out, I'd say.
Yeah, the city canceled early on us, but we've taken some extra measures, I think, to make sure we're like double confirming. For those people who live a long ways away, we want to, confirm, cancel, or play, so that way y'all don't have to drive all the way down from Johnson City or wherever you're coming from. I know some people in the past have come up from Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, but Thursday got to play.
They did.
But we don't know anything about the scores because they haven't been posted yet. So feel free to comment in the chat, and we might check out that later. But this week's going to be a little bit different because of our special guest. We're going to go over some stuff, and then after that, we'll probably be done covering the league stuff because of no games and Thursday not getting recorded. So just to give you an idea where we're going. So one of the things that happened last week, instead of when league was canceled, is there was pickup at Sam Duff. You'll want to pay attention to anything that's posted on Facebook or on the listserv on the KnoxUlty Google group to see if there's going to be pickup. And generally speaking, if the fields are not good enough to play, we may or may not be able to do that. So don't just assume it's going to be on. Last week was an exception because obviously it was good enough for us to play. But you'll want to make sure, so check that out. You can go on the Knoxville Ultimate website for more information there.
Also, it was put in the listserv this last week. If you're hip to the new technology, and by that I mean it's like 6 years old, there's GroupMe, which is a group chat. That was put in the listserv, so you can join that. It's kind of a text or app-based service. You can hear from people whether pickup's happening, and get bothered on Sunday by Jess to make sure that you're going to show up by 2 p.m. for pickup at Morningside.
At Morningside, yeah. So, excuse me. Last thing, want to give a big shout out, congratulations to the Lady Hornets. They finished 5th in the nation. So awesome job, ladies. We're proud of you. Look forward to see you just continue to rise to new heights. Got all Knoxville support.
Yeah, congratulations to Josh too. It's some solid coaching, 2 years in a row for Natties. So I'm giving him props. I'm giving him props.
No, it's good. I'm glad. I sent him a shout out last week. So yeah. All right, let's introduce our guest. Who do we have here?
This is the godfather of Knoxville Ultimate, Mr. Charlie Quick.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know Charlie, he has been playing Ultimate longer than most of us have been alive. So just such a wealth of knowledge. We want to draw it out of him, have him share his experiences tonight. We're super excited to have him on. So this is a question from Jeremy that Mitch is about to ask you.
Yeah. So Jeremy was really curious about, every year you play a little bit more, but another birthday rolls around. So he's wondering, at this rate, how much do you have to budget for Metamucil?
That does sound like a Jeremy question. I would have a question for Jeremy. How much it set him back to get all the answers to the bar exam?
Oh, touche,
Yeah,
touche.
yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
Yule, if
probably
you're
about
watching.
the same.
Yeah. So
Jeremy.
yeah. Jeremy, if you're watching, I think you just got owned, is what they call it these days. So
I'm sure he'd have a snappy comeback for that.
that's, yeah,
Oh yeah.
good start. So Charlie, how did you start playing Ultimate?
So as a sophomore at University of Tennessee, living in Presidential Court, I used to throw a lot of frisbee out in the courtyard. And someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, you should go to Circle Park on Fridays. They play a game called Ultimate over there." Now, if you go to Circle Park, you wouldn't see enough field to even play hot box, hardly.
Yeah.
Some of the trees have grown up, so the field was a little bigger back then. But so I went there and checked it out. So some guys from Oak Ridge would come to Circle Park on the Friday, but mostly the folks from UT would go to Oak Ridge. So Oak Ridge and the University of Tennessee neither one had enough to actually play their own games. So they would either come here or we would go there. So took a lot of trips to Oak Ridge in the early 80s. So it was 1980 was the first time I played Ultimate.
Wow.
And at Circle Park. So we put this team from Oak Ridge and University of Tennessee together and we wanted a name that didn't sound like either one. So East Tennessee Ultimate Machine, or EATM, was the first name of a team from Tennessee. When they got jerseys, I thought this is too serious for me. I'm not gonna do this anymore. But they were so desperate for people, and I was terrible. So desperate for people, they kept calling me up and saying, "Come back up, come back out." So I did. I came back out pretty quick after that. I never did get that first jersey. I paid for it and never got it because I dropped out of the scene. That was how I personally started playing. I mean, I was throwing a frisbee at age 8 when the frisbee first came out. The Pluto platter. Look it up, kids.
Wow.
The Pluto platter had all the planets of the solar system on it. It was the first frisbee, and I remember throwing that one in 1968. Wow. So I've been throwing frisbees since there have been frisbees.
Wow.
Wow. So what's your favorite way to throw?
Accurately. Deep.
I haven't learned that yet.
Well, backhand, forehand, or I mean, if you like hucks, that's
yeah,
great.
lately my forehand is not. I can't throw it as deep as I used to, so
Okay.
I like the backhand huck.
Yeah.
But I don't throw fancy throws during a game. I want it to be as accurate
Smart
as possible.
throws. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I've rarely thrown a hammer in a game. Rarely.
I can't remember ever seeing you throw one, so that's a really good point.
Anyway.
Learn, children, learn.
See, Clay? See?
The push pass, come on.
That's one of my go-tos.
It's kind of an in-your-face pass, don't you think?
It's more I'm too lazy to pivot for a backhand, so I don't
Maybe
want
That happened to me at a tournament recently. I had a guy who was too lazy to pivot around me,
Yeah.
so he decided to just throw him behind his back. I was like, oh,
Of course.
can't be mad at that. That was okay.
Nice. So you started playing in 1980. When did Knoxville Ultimate start?
Well, like I said, Oak Ridge was the roots. Fred Bays he really is the founding father of, quote, Knoxville Ultimate. He was much older than me, and he was the organizer of Ultimate in Oak Ridge. But I have a t-shirt from the 1981 UPA sectionals. That's Ultimate Players Association, kids, from Mobile, Alabama. So we had to go to Mobile just for sectionals in 1981.
Wow. There weren't that many teams then.
No.
That's like a regional spot.
And we went to tournaments just simply because we wanted to play. We were sick of playing each other, and we almost didn't have enough to play against each other. So to get more practice, we would just go to any tournament we could find. And there weren't a lot of tournaments to go to. So there was an old house in Fort Sanders, the Frisbee House, where Grand Forest Townhomes are now. They've tore it down. We were the last people to live in that house. That was in the 1980s World's Fair era. And so I moved into that house about 85 and lived there till 89. So that was sort of like the nerve center of Knoxville Ultimate, was the Frisbee House. So the locations, Department of Energy at Oak Ridge. Then we moved to Cherokee Park. And then in 1985, we found Morningside Park. Now, my friend Nils Lassiter he's also really the founding father of Knoxville Ultimate. Nils Lassiter found this field at Morningside Park, and we said, this looks like a dangerous place to play Ultimate. It was very overgrown. We had to move tires out of the way.
Oh my goodness.
Drug needles.
Oh,
literally. It was dicey. People would walk across our field like, what are you doing on my field? I was like, whoa, this is not very safe. But we did it. We put up the golf course at Morningside.
Really?
Because we played Ultimate over there.
Yeah.
It was convenient for us, and it was on the other side of the road. It didn't go around the field at that time.
Oh, okay.
We have many instances in Morningside Park that you should keep an eye around you when you're there. Anthony P. Shoemaker is an unsolved murder in Knoxville, and I saw Anthony's body at Morningside Park. He was drugged down there, burned.
Oh my goodness.
He was murdered, and it's an unsolved murder. One time this dude was walking around and was like, it looks like he's safe. Why is he running? I don't know why he's running. I don't know. Anyway, here come uniformed police officers with guns drawn across the field. I think, hey, it's a good time for timeout here.
Yeah, we're good.
Ooh.
And of course, my dog runs up to the police dog.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then there was what you got in the backpack, Jimmy? One of our UT guys got there early, was sitting there by himself. What's in the backpack? Drew a gun on 13-year-old thugs.
Oh, man.
So we took a break from Morningside for about 6 months after the shooting incident. He got shot at. People driving their car, donuts on the field while we're playing. And so it's had its history of diciness, but our presence in that park, at the golf course, in the ultimate field, has really cleaned up that area. It's like it's not a place to hang out and do drugs, for other people anyway. No, I mean. So,
That's really cool, though.
and there's a house right as you walk into Morningside, that very first house by the path. That's Angela, and Angela knew Nils Lassiter, and this is why Nils knew of this field.
Okay.
And her kid grew up and played with us sometimes at that field, and he ended up coming to a Tennessee State Championship tournament and played. And that kid grew up to be a big, beefy, looked like someone you'd be scared of at Morningside. It's like, hey, how y'all doing? It's like, no, that's Michael. So Morningside Park, it holds a special place in my heart. You can't get thrown off of there, well, except for the neighborhood kids. It's not a field that gets closed because of conditions. And I've gone out there with a rake to rake the mud back out after we played on it when we shouldn't have. As far as Knoxville Ultimate and its rise to something that was more than just a pickup, we would qualify for regionals regularly. The sectionals, we were in a section with Chain Lightning, and Chain Lightning would dominate. We would be second, and then two other teams would qualify for regionals. And so we went to regionals a lot back in the 80s. We never did very well at regionals.
Yeah. So what were your favorite tournaments to go to when you were?
Well, I know on our list is to talk about Poultry Days, and Poultry Days by far was the most fun tournament to go to. I mean, there's no comparison to Poultry Days. I mean, I could spend the 30-minute show talking about Poultry Days, and I've got some stuff I want to talk about, but Poultry Days was by far the most fun.
Okay. Any others stick out to you, or we'll
St.
get to that.
St. Patty's Day in Columbia, South Carolina. I don't know if they still have that, but holds a special place in my heart because that's where me and my wife kind of first got together. She's an ultimate player. And,
okay.
We've been married 25 years.
Congrats.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that kind of holds a special place in my heart. Smoky Mountain Ultimate Tournament, SMUT.
Oh yeah.
Right in Knoxville. Nice close place to go. I was tournament director probably 5 times at that tournament. So I understand when Tinker says I'm glad to not be organizing. I understand where he's coming from there. And I'm very, very proud of the people who are organizing all the things that are going on in Knoxville Ultimate. The youth stuff just was non-existent when I was in the early days of Knoxville Ultimate. And it's just, I'm so proud of everyone that's doing what they're doing to make that happen.
Cool. So there was a player you used to play with, Sean Adams. Tell me about Sean a little bit.
So in our effort to play other teams, we heard of some folks that were playing in Chattanooga, and Sean Adams was one of the organizers of Chattanooga Ultimate back in the mid 80s, late 80s. But he just couldn't get the momentum going in Chattanooga. It was like, it was a pleasure to drive to Chattanooga and play them because we would wax them. And it's like, there's actually a team somewhere around here we can beat.
Yeah.
And so he kind of got frustrated with Chattanooga Ultimate, and he started coming to Knoxville for practice and for tournaments too.
Okay.
So he would call us on the phone at the Frisbee house. I was like, y'all are playing today, right? Yeah, I'll be there now.
From Chattanooga.
From Chattanooga, yeah.
Wow.
And, so he picked up with us at several tournaments. So Sean exemplified spirit of the game. Sean would call fouls on himself. I know that's unheard of in today's world of Ultimate. Your teammates don't want you to call fouls on yourself. But he was trying to educate other people. It's like, I fouled you. That's a foul. Stop play. I fouled him.
Oh, wow. Very insistent.
Yeah. So some of you may know this, but April 10, 1994 was Sunday of Monkey Bowl in Nashville. And we were on our third game of the day. I believe it was quarterfinals. We had stopped play once before for lightning, got off the fields. We resumed play. Another storm was coming in. It was extremely dark in one section of the sky. International Airport is nearby. They changed the flight pattern, and this massive jumbo jet was flying over our field. And it was raining, but it wasn't like lightning was nearby. But that jumbo jet, I learned 2 years ago, that jet was reported being hit by lightning. So it hit that plane, hit our field,
Wow.
and it knocked everybody down, including myself. I woke up on the ground, and I thought that plane had exploded, but no, the plane was way over there. I was like, I'm missing some time here.
Yeah.
And I looked around, and everyone on the field was down.
Mm.
One person's body was steaming from head to toe. That was Carmen Lapoma. And Sean was down on the ground. Now, Sean was just like everybody else, like me. You know, he was down on the ground. I was in a sitting position, but Sean was just laying down. I didn't even notice him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I ran off the field, as many people did, and they carted Sean off, and he didn't make it. Sean didn't survive. And so when I got home and heard one had died at an ultimate tournament on the news, I knew it was that girl, Carmen, whose body was smoking from head to toe.
Yeah.
She was in a coma for a month. She survived. She's still, she can barely take care of herself. I mean, it completely changed her life. But Sean passed, and April 10, 1994, you don't forget the date you almost died. So that was 25 years ago, last April.
Wow.
And so this Sean Adams tournament in Chattanooga, that's another one that holds a special place in my heart, because he was a good guy, and he was a friend. And I could talk for 10 minutes about that day and the day before. I invited Sean to my wedding the day before. He said I'll be there. He couldn't make it to the national championship masters team. We put a nationals team together. Us in Atlanta put a team together and qualified for the national championships. And Sean was 1 year away. He was 29. It's like, oh damn it, I'm 29. I'll be there next year though.
Yeah.
So that's Sean. So kids, when they blow the horn, get off the field, because a game's not worth your life. It's a game.
Yeah.
And it's not worth your life. And I've got to tell you, we were stupid for many, many, many years before that. Played in electrical storms. I could count them. I don't anymore, and but I'm not anyway. That's Sean. Sean was a super guy. You know, sometimes people say, "Oh, he was the best guy." It's like, well, just because he passed, you say he was the best cool guy? No, this guy was really something special in terms of spirit of the game and intensity of the game. I was almost like didn't really care the game before. And I was like, it's raining, it's muddy, and I'm tired.
Ready to go home.
And he's like, come on. He dove in front of me for a disc and just went face first. And he's like, come on, let's do this. So
that's why they call it this Sean Adams spirit of the game.
Spirit of the game. He exemplified spirit of the game. So Nils Lassiter, who I mentioned earlier, he was engaged to be married. He got married on the field of Smut after Sean passed. His wife was pregnant at the time, and they named their kid Sean Luke Lassiter. He goes by Luke, but they named him Sean after Sean.
Do you know how old Luke is now? I guess maybe 15,
Well,
16?
so 94, so he's graduated from college now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And plays Ultimate.
Oh, really?
Oh,
And
great.
Nils is about 5 years older than me and still plays Ultimate. So, yeah, he's an inspiration for me.
That's really neat. So you said you played with Edom in the early 80s, and then when I came on to the scene in 2011, I remember reading this really cool web page. It was the history of Knoxville Ultimate.
Which I wrote in about 95. So it was soon after the Sean Adams incident. I wrote that and kind of put that whole history together.
Yeah.
But we went through a series of name changes, a long list of them.
Yeah.
Ended up with Voodoo.
And it tells the link that we have there tells the history of it. But one of the things that you mentioned on there was there are these new guys. The Tanasi team is on the scene.
Yes.
And
it was a bit of a controversy because we were finally getting good enough to where we thought, hey, we can actually do well at regionals. And then the best of the best in Knoxville decided to team up with some other people from Tennessee and start their own team. So, I never had hard feelings about it. Mark Stevie was one of the ones I think that organized that, and I was like, more power to you, Mark, and I wish you all well. But there were some people that kind of were like, man, that just sucks for Knoxville Ultimate. Yeah. I'm glad they did as good as they did, and I don't know what their story is now. If they're
so that's one thing I wanted to mention. So Tanasi took a hiatus in 2011. They'd been playing for several years. They made nationals, I think, once or twice. But last year, they started getting back the band together, and I think you know him, Jacob Altimus. So he played at UT. He's Macaulay's coach, the boys' school down there in Chattanooga, but he's coaching Tanasi this year.
Awesome.
And I'm just super excited for all the synergy that they have this year. I really think they lost to the team that lost in the game to go last year. But that means that they're going to be part of the select flight tournament, so they're going to be able to get the rankings points up. There were a lot of Knoxville guys that were already playing on the team that beat them, Freaks out of Huntsville.
Freaks of nature.
Yeah, they've shortened it to Freaks now.
Yes.
And so a lot of those guys are also playing Tennessee this year. So I'm excited for them, especially because they're carrying on that name.
That legacy. That's great. Yeah, I'm happy for that.
Tennessee Ultimate kind of gets a bad rap in the national scene, but I think we really have a good chance with that team. So excited to.
Well, I wanted to mention that SMUT had went on for about 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Started in 1983. And one of the reasons we kept it going is we wanted to get people in Knoxville interested in Ultimate. We would always call the news, the TV news, and probably 75% of the time they'd come out. I mean, think about it. July 4th is when we had it. July 4th is a dead period sports-wise. There's nothing going on sports-wise.
Yeah.
So they'd always send out a crew, and they'd do a little piece. And, our first summer league was in 1993. It was a guy named Brian Glandon had a summer school project to start a summer league. Well, there were 3 teams. They were all us. And it was like, we're going to do a league. It's like, why? There's not enough people to do 3 teams.
Yeah, it's not
It
worth
was
it.
just like pickup. And so that was 93. And so it's taken a long time to get the summer league momentum going. Part of me is sad that SMUT stopped happening, but the whole reason for it was to get excitement in Knoxville about Ultimate. And so it's here. Youth Ultimate, the summer league, 2 summer leagues that are quite well attended.
Almost 300 people between both of them.
I think over 300 people.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So, that's awesome. Not quite.
And I need to shout out about the women. Okay, the women's team played and grew along with us. They qualified for regionals once, and I think it was about 98. But they did their own thing, and they kind of played alongside us. We played co-ed mixed pickup a lot.
Yeah.
We would play against them to help them get better, and just start the point over. It's like they turn it over. It's like, just pick it back up.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
That's good.
So any encouragement for women's ultimate in Knoxville, I'm happy about that too.
That's cool. Yeah, especially with the 5th in the nation high school girls team.
Whoa.
Also, so you said 98 is when they made regionals. I think 2000 is when the mixed division was first introduced to the UPA. I think I saw something you had on there about
2001, we decided to put a co-ed team together. We started making SMUT co-ed because it got too popular. And I was running the tournament. It was in 3 different locations, and it was killing me. So it was like, I know one way to reduce the numbers is to go co-ed. And we actually, about 2 years into it, got Kenny Dobbins came with some folks, and
for those watching that don't know, Kenny Dobbins is one of the original Death or Glory guys, right?
Yes.
I believe, which won 5 or 6 national championships in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
So this guy is like, you can imagine, I mean, think Jimmy Mickle today or Bo Kittredge or whoever.
And
so
we saw
really
firsthand some of him being a complete jerk.
Oh.
Which he has a reputation for, but he was very, very good too.
Yeah.
But anyway, 2001, we put a co-ed team together. Moonshine Barbie was the name of the team.
How'd you come up with that name?
Because we were drinking moonshine.
Okay, there you go. Easy combination.
106 degrees in Dallas at regionals. And it's like, sip this. It's like, are you sure that's a good idea? I don't think it's a good idea. It looks like water, but it's not.
Yeah.
Hydrate, but we're Moonshine Barbie.
Hydrate, don't hydrate.
Yeah. So that was, we totally did not overdo it. Just a tiny sip, just for the namesake.
Yeah.
That was the hottest tournament I was ever at. 106 degrees.
Wow.
I think the USA Ultimate, now formerly the UPA, has like their own specific, like if it's over a heat index of 100, play stops every so often for.
Poo-poo.
We want to be safe.
They gave major shout-outs to their. They had a crew backing up their observers at college nationals, and they gave major shout-outs because they said they were just on a constant loop, making sure every observer, every sideline had water because it was brutal this year. It was in Texas again.
Yeah,
so they said they gave major shout-outs to that team of people who just kept people hydrated.
Yeah.
So.
So there's only 4 minutes left.
Yeah, we got a couple more things.
Yeah.
Poultry Days.
Poultry Days has to make the list, though. You're right.
It does this weekend.
So Mitch, you're captaining the team, right?
I am. This is my 3rd year captaining,
Okay.
and it is. I mean, just from my experience, I got into it Nathan Kenner invited me, I think it was 1 week before the tournament. He had a couple spots left, and you all know my girlfriend Amanda, way better at Ultimate than I am, and he needed some good women to play. And so he's like, I mean, if Mitch has to come, sure. But then he passed off the bid to me, and I've been going the last couple of years. For those of you unfamiliar, it is a chicken festival.
Yes, it is a town carnival festival. They sell 10,000 or plus chicken dinners, and I've heard vegetarians take a break and have that chicken. It is the best barbecue chicken on earth.
So,
yeah,
I almost want to like ask Mitch to bring me some food back.
Yep, it's like a $6 meal. It's basically half a chicken. And then orange drink.
Is it Chili Willy still?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
Chili Willy orange drink. Yep.
Yeah, but
oh yeah, I know that one.
They sold their millionth chicken dinner last year.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. The festival sold its million, and it went to an Ultimate player because there were 70 Ultimate teams there last year, and there's going to be 70 again this year. So it's a huge tournament, and.
Now, what else is it? Is it just Poultry Days, or is it the Jeff Warwick Memorial Poultry Days tournament?
It's just Poultry Days still, but
so tell us some history.
Yeah, give us some history here.
So the first time I went, there was probably 8 teams, and one of them was the Versailles Blue Meanies, I think was their name.
Versailles, not Versailles people.
Yes.
Versailles. Okay.
And we didn't play but a few games out at the park. We played on the high school field, and there was a smoke field that was near there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, the park, no one camped at the park. The first time I came there, teams were put up in the basement of players because there was only seven teams that came.
Okay.
And so I slept in some guy's basement. And when we got up, they were all gone because they had to run Poultry Days. It's a town event. Everyone that lives there has to participate. They just left us in the house and said, "Here's the coffee. Help yourself."
Wow.
So one of our teammates, Gary Johnson, couldn't find the house and got there late, so he just pitched a tent across the street. He couldn't find the house.
Okay.
And that's probably the first tent that was pitched for Poultry Days. Okay, so about a year later, we got there late, and we didn't want to mess with. I don't think they were even putting people up in people's houses, but we got there late, went to the park, and we just it's 12:30, and we're just going to camp. Wow. We're just going to put our tents up, and we're going to camp.
What year was this? Do you remember?
Probably about 85.
Okay.
Wow.
85. I have video. Go to CCWIEK 09 on YouTube. CCWIEK 09 on YouTube, and you'll find a large collection of video. And in there you will see video from the hill of Poultry Days with no tents, hardly in sight, almost no tents in sight.
Yeah.
Wow. So we set up and camped there. We were the only team camping. They had a 5K race, and they saw our tents there, and they took a chalk line and they put it right by our tent. And John Snyder's head was like sticking out of the tent. And all these 5Kers are going by. He didn't wake up. He was just
That's so funny.
That's great.
So Jeff Warwick ran it. Jeff Warwick was the guy who lived in Versailles. He started it. He grew up in the Poultry Festival. So that'd be cool to have Ultimate associated with it. I saw him at about two or three of those tournaments, and then one tournament he didn't show up. And it's like, Jeff's sick. And then the next tournament he was there, but boy, he was skinny. He didn't play. He was skinny, but boy, had a huge smile on his face because he was kind of watching the whole thing happen. And in between there and the next year, he passed away. He died of leukemia. And a teammate of his died of leukemia. In the same era, same time frame. So they made it the Jeff Warwick Poultry Days Ultimate Classic. So you're telling me it doesn't say Jeff Warwick anywhere on the shirt?
Nope, it's now just the Poultry Days Classic.
That's just a real shame.
I wonder why. You'll have to ask him about it.
I don't know. I'll ask Roger about it at the meeting this year.
So Roger Oakes is the guy that runs.
Yeah, Oceandaga Ultimate. If you've ever looked into them, their goal is actually to have field complexes down in Florida that are purpose built for Ultimate for nationals and stuff like that. They're really pushing to build communities everywhere that they participate. They help maintain. Versailles now has a driving range that is maintained as Ultimate Fields. I mean, it's the nicest driving range I've ever seen because they keep it year round for us so that they can host 70 teams.
Yeah,
So-
those fields were dicey at best the first time we played on them.
There's still the crows still drop like the old corn on the cob, or the cobs from the corn.
Gotcha.
They still drop them all over. You gotta watch your ankles, but they're good looking now.
So can I run through my real quick?
Sure.
I probably went to 13 to 15 poultry days.
Wow.
Camping on the hill, you got to get there Wednesday probably now to camp on the hill. But we would camp on the hill. Big thunderstorm came through. What are we going to do? There's nowhere to go. You just set it out. And the field that we played on was pretty much underwater. There was a spot, I literally was this much water on it, and we had 3 games in a row on that field.
Oh my goodness.
Huntsville, Freaks of Nature, would shoot water balloons at people and say, hey, we got kids down here. And they would go, voodoo, voodoo, voodoo. Those guys from Voodoo shooting water balloons. I said, no, it's Huntsville. The beer tent. If you haven't gone to the beer tent on Saturday night in the town, you got to go. Because it is
Really?
filled with locals, all get drunk. Just absolutely filled. There's a band playing, but you can't hear it because everyone is just talking so loud.
Wow.
It is absolutely packed with humans drinking cups of beer as fast as they can. The cops get drunk. They just drag people off the sidewalk.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Wow.
we used to gamble on chicks, little tiny chickens.
Okay.
You put your money down and off they'd run, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's not really.
You know, that's now actually they've morphed that into the egg eating contest. I don't know if that was a thing back then, but now it's the Cool Hand Luke egg eating contest, and it raises money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. That actually might be the tie-in.
That's the time.
That's the time.
But they've been raising money. I think their goal this year, I'm not 100% certain, it was over $10,000, just from people bidding on how many eggs that their egg eater could eat. And this year, the pool with the winning team's egg eater in it gets to play all day Sunday on the park fields,
Nice.
which is it's awesome. You get to roll out of bed late for that one.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
We played a team called Voodoo. They were from Canada. And this is about the time they've tried to go co-ed, and these guys didn't have any girls. I was like, why don't y'all have any girls? I was like, we don't even know how to get dates. How do you do that?
That's really fun.
We won the B bracket one year.
Oh, nice.
What else?
Very nice.
Jeff Warwick's mom, after he passed, would serve lasagna on Saturday night at the park and just gave away lasagna. And she did it for years, and it was like, well, let's pay for it. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if anyone's getting fed at the park on
They
Saturday night.
still do that for vegetarians. I think now they ask for $2 or $3 donation,
Right.
but they just come out with big, like
Vegetarian
10
lasagna.
big dishes of just
Vegetarian lasagna.
not even. It's just noodles and sauce and salad
But
salad.
Jeff's mom
But-
personally came out
Wow.
and gave lasagna to people just to say thanks, you know.
Wow.
And one last story, the farm
Yeah.
field, we were playing at the farm field and a storm came in, we all got in our cars, and I swear I thought the car was gonna get blown over. That's how bad the wind was.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
I wonder what my tent looks like. We went back to Tent City and it was devastating. It was devastating.
Oh my goodness.
Some people's tents were just destroyed. I mean,
Yeah.
the poles were broken.
Wow.
And some people just got in their car and went to Pequot and stayed in hotels. It was
Which
the
is
town
like
that you go
30
through.
minutes away, right?
Yeah, it
At
is.
least.
I think the nearest Walmart is
There
in
is
that town.
There
It's
is
30
no
minutes away.
hotels available because it's poultry days, honey. You're not gonna get a hotel room at poultry days.
Yeah.
I love poultry days, and for those of you going to poultry days, have fun because this is what Ultimate's all about. It's having fun, camaraderie, good friends, lifelong friends. That's it's changed my life
Yeah.
for the better.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
on with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
You newfangled kids with your newfangled technology. I don't even know how to get on this thing, but I'll try to figure it out and watch the recording.
All right. We're going to share some of the links that Charlie talked about later on.
I've got T-shirt images, disc images, video. We'll get it to you.
Wow.
Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
stay safe, safe travels, except when playing Ultimate.
Yeah, well, and actually, one real quick thing I forgot before we sign off. Keep my heads up on the Twitter and stuff this week, as Wednesday's looking a little dicey right now on the weather. It's gonna be
Tomorrow?
yeah.
Oh,
It looks like afternoon thunderstorms are rolling through. My fingers are crossed that it's the Knoxville thing where they say it's coming through at 5 and then it doesn't show up till 9. But right now it's looking like 75 degrees, a little bit of a wind, but that 47% chance of rain that's a little dicey. So
Hey, as a statistician, I can tell you that means they don't know what's going to happen.
It's
47%.
It's true.
50-50.
All right.
And then for Thursday, for Thursday we are looking at a little bit nicer temperatures, 72, a little bit more wind, but no rain.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, now we can go ahead and sign off.
Safe travels, except when playing Ultimate.
Bye on.
And I'll be Jeremy next week. So.
Oh please, I wouldn't wish that on you.
Ooh, that's true. That's true. Have a night. Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
So you
We're good.
stopped it
Yeah.
there. I
So you
think
can
it-
preview the recording, see if it's dropping frames and whatnot.
Well, so the recording will luckily record directly to my hard drive.
So even if it were dropping live, it's
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
can.
clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Looks like it was only 8 seconds of live.
Ooh.
Let's see here. Yeah, Paul's numbers trying to watch. So,
Do we have any Knoxville Ultimate YouTube account at all? Actually, we have a mixed results Gmail account. We can just upload from there.
let me.
Sorry, we can let you out.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for all the Poultry Day stories. It's it's funny. We were running out of time. I didn't want to bring it up. Last year, Game 5 on Saturday, we're like, man, it's getting dark, but it was like